Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah wa salatu wassalamu ala Rasulillah. We continue reading from Imam Al-Ghazali's Jawahir al-Quran the Jews of the Quran Spears. We're still reading from Surah Al-Rum, the Romans. And inshallah, we'll read and comment on the first selection of the 5 verses. And the first one is about the Hanifiyya. And inshallah, we'll pave the way and reach there. أعوذ بالله السميع من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ضرب لكم مثلا من أنفسكم هل لكم مما ملكت أيمانكم من شركاء فيما رزقناكم فأنتم فيه سواء تخافونهم كخيفتكم أنفسكم كذلك نفصل الآيات لقوم يعقلون. He sets forth, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, an example, a parable drawn from your own lives. Would you allow some of those bonds people in your possession, your slaves, to be your equal partners in whatever wealth we have provided you, keeping them in mind as you are mindful of your peers? This is how we make the signs clear for people who understand. Humans would not allow those who, in general, who are inferior to them to become their partners in wealth. How can they set up helpless partners with Allah in His kingdom? Okay, so we have those who are inferior, those that people owned. We have several issues here. The first one is that I try, بإذن عز وجل, every time slavery is mentioned, to remind myself and others that Islam systematically dealt with the issue of wanted to end slavery, something that existed at the time, and there are several ways of setting slaves free. Abu Bakr as-Siddiq, the first man, adult, to accept Islam, who became the father-in-law of the Prophet ﷺ, father of Lady Aisha, who was the companion during the migration, the hijrah from Mecca to Medina, who was the first head of state after the death of the Prophet ﷺ, the first caliph, Khalifa. He spent his money setting free the slaves who became Muslims in Mecca, who were owned. They were owned by idol worshippers. So from day one, this is part of the people who make certain mistakes. One of the ways of atoning, if you will, for the mistake or sin is to set a slave free. And a woman who carried the child for her master, she was effectively free. She was Walad, mother of a free child. So setting herself free through that way. At any rate, and people could also have a contract with their masters to pay a certain lump sum, or to work for them to do a certain project for them. The Prophet ﷺ asked the companions in Medina to help one of their brothers, meaning one of the slaves, to mukatib, if you will, who had a contract with his master to set him free for planting a certain number of palm trees, if I remember well. So that's the first issue. The second issue, which is obvious here, is about those who are inferior. No, you don't. You don't allow them to become your own partners. And this is really about assigning, or basically attributing. It's basically the whole theology is man-made. It's post-revelation. It has nothing to do with revelation. People attributing minor gods, if you will, these idols that they create, or whatever totems that they create, they associate them with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, with God. How about if they were equal? Would you allow them to become your partners? No, you just simply, in general, partnership is uh, it's rare to have partnerships, it seems, to that continue. But as if partnerships are meant to end, whereby ultimately someone uh, becomes the owner of whatever business, for example, but you don't voluntarily share with others what you have. What you have, you would like it to be yours. This verse, yes, it does set forth an example from our own lives, but the idea is, how could you basically not share with your inferior, and you attribute such a thing to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You say that he is sharing his creation with an inferior God, which really does not exist. In reality, there is no other God, but it's something that they created and they have attributed to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. بل اتبع الذين ظلموا أهواءهم بغير علم فمن يهدي من أضل الله وما لهم من ناصرين. In fact, the wrongdoers merely follow their desires with no knowledge. Who then can guide those Allah has left to stray? They will have no helpers. فأقم وجهك للدين حنيفا. So be steadfast in faith in all uprightness. This is addressing the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Hanifa, this is Millat Ibrahim, Sayyidina Ibrahim alayhi salam. This is the Hanifiyya. And in fact, there were remnants of the Hanifiyya in the Arabian Peninsula. There were Jews, there were Christians, and that's you talk with the historical developments, with the post-revelation constructs. But the Hanifiyya, they would be people who still following the original faith of Sayyidina Ibrahim alayhi salam. Pure monotheism. They would not attribute anything to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They would not associate anything with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that no one, nothing. In fact, one of the things that the pagans of the Arabian Peninsula, of Mecca included, the idol worshippers, they attributed daughters to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, meaning the angels. They attributed, associated gods with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, though they knew that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the creator of the universe. And an amazing story is that of Sayyidina Umar ibn Khattab when he was an idol worshipper before he became a Muslim. He used to make his man-made god out of dates, and dates, they, you know that they are sticky, they stick together. And just imagine that you talk about like a natural play-doh, and he would create his own god from dates. And whenever he got hungry and he had seemed that no other food was available, he would eat his god. And when he had a budget for that, he would rebuild the god. If one thinks about it for a second, the statue that you make, the statue that you buy, if you if even if you if even if you don't if even if you convince yourself that you are not worshiping the statue, but you kneel before the statue, who made the statue? Who made the statue? Who paid for it? Does it respond? The Who is your prophet? Did he kneel before a statue? Wasn't Sayyidina Musa alayhi salam, didn't he get very angry when he returned from meeting with his Lord and found that his followers worshipped the Samiri, created a golden cow for them? He was very angry. He threw the tablets from his hands, and he shook the head of his brother Aaron alayhi salam. فأقم وجهك للدين حنيفا. This is the natural way of Allah, which He has instilled in all people. This is the natural disposition. This is what it's innate, if you will. Uh, it's innate. You have it. You believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. People who even associate others with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the problem is that they still talk about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They say God, and then they will add things. Even today, post-revelational constructs. Think about it. فأقم وجهك للدين حنيفا فطرة الله التي فطر الناس عليها لا تبديل لخلق الله. That there be no change in this creation of Allah. ذلك الدين القيم ولكن أكثر الناس لا يعلمون. That is the straight way, straight path. This is the right religion. But most people do not know. A moment of a sincere moment, a sincere introspection, reflecting on what people who are religious, but they are trapped in the customs, in the culture, in what they have inherited from their parents and society. And in terms of doing good, they do. In terms of philanthropy, they are at the forefront. They do good, and let's say that they have wonderful. They are wonderful beings, but a moment of sincerity, if they have that kind of introspection, reflecting on what they do, uh, thinking about at what stage in history their theologians invented, added things. We do have in Islam some people who might say things historically, but other scholars would stop them in their track. They will not allow historically the Al-Baghdadi. He died the year Imam Ghazali was born. That's 450 of the Islamic calendar with Hijri. he listed some 70 sects that existed, theological, religious sects. We don't talk about political parties. Um, where are they today? Alhamdulillah. And pretty much they do not exist. We still have a couple of them um, who are still around. But the idea is that they themselves also could, um, or they should, reflect on any post-revolutional construct. So we do have that, but not as a mainstream. Every now and then you'll have somebody who says something out of the ordinary. So this is a call to the Prophet ﷺ. It's a call for us. It's a call for humanity, and all the way until the day of judgment. Just look for that natural disposition in you, which Allah that natural way to be a true, pure monotheist, not associating anything or anyone or attributing any anthropomorphic attributes to Allah Subhanahu wa Taala, or attributing space time attributes. Allah Subhanahu wa Taala created the universe, created space and time, and if there's anything that, and we do have certain verses in the Quran, the anthropomorphic verses, they should always be interpreted metaphorically. The hand of God is above their hands. His power, He's omnipotent. منيبين إليه واتقوه وأقيموا الصلاة ولا تكونوا من المشركين. All believers always turn to Him, turn to Him in repentance, returning to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala time and again, seeking His forgiveness, and uh, just simply trying to be on the right path of the hereafter, being mindful of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, being God conscientious, and establish prayers. And establishing prayers means definitely establishing the religion, uh, and do not be polytheists. ولا تكونوا من المشركين من الذين فرقوا دينهم وكانوا شيعا كل حزب بما لديهم فرحون, like those who have divided their faith and split into sects, each rejoicing in what they have. وإذا مس الناس ضر دعوا ربهم منيبين إليه ثم إذا أذاقهم منه رحمة إذا فريق منهم بربهم يشركون. إذا فريق منهم بربهم يشركون. When people are touched with hardship, they cry out to their Lord, turning to Him alone. But as soon as He gives them a taste of His mercy, a group of them associates others with their Lord in worship. The Israelites, the children of Israel, the followers of Prophet Moses, they had just witnessed a great miracle when they crossed the sea. They saw Prophet Moses splitting the sea by leave of God. Massive walls of water on each side. كالطود العظيم. Massive. And they crossed, and they saw the Pharaoh and his soldiers drowning when they crossed, and the water closed in on the Pharaoh and his soldiers. And, metaphorically, their feet were not dry yet when they asked for a God like the idol worshippers. Sayyidina Musa alayhi salam, he goes to meet with his Lord, and they create and worship an idol in the shape of a calf, the golden calf, if you will. ليكفروا بما آتيناهم فتمتعوا فسوف تعلمون. Becoming ungrateful for whatever favors we have given them. So enjoy yourselves, for soon you will know. أم أنزلنا عليهم سلطانا فهو يتكلم بما كانوا به يشركون. So becoming ungrateful for whatever favors we have given them, so enjoy yourselves, for soon you will know. Or have we sent down to them an authority which attests to what they associate with him? Of course, they don't have a sultan. They don't have an authority. They don't have a proof. They don't have any logical reason why to create or associate anything or anyone with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They know it deep in their heart. They know it. If you go to the market and buy your own God, when Sayyidina Ibrahim alayhi salam, the Prophet Abraham, the iconoclast who destroyed the idols of his people and kept the largest one, the biggest in size. So when they came back, it seems from their festival, they were away from the village, the town, their place, and they asked, "Who did this?" And they knew that Sayyidina Ibrahim alayhi salam mocked their idols before, their gods. And when they faced him, he said, "He did it, the biggest one. Bad if they do, bad if they don't. If they accept his argument, they know that the biggest one did. They know that he couldn't, and they said it. If they say no, he cannot, then what is it that he cannot defend the younger ones, the smaller ones? He could not have defended himself? Of course not. Why would they worship a piece of stone, a piece of wood, piece of iron, whatever is the material, a rock that you carve, 100 years old, buying a 1 day old idol? It could be baked, literally, freshly baked from mud. أولم يروا أن الله يبسط الرزق لمن يشاء ويقدر إن في ذلك لآية لقوم يؤمنون. Have they not seen that Allah gives abundant or limited provisions to whoever He wills? Surely in this are signs for people who believe. Yes, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala provides the believer and the non-believer, the Muslim and the non-Muslim. And you can see it. You can see it today. You can read about it. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala provides all kinds of rizq, all kinds of provisions, sustenance in abundance to whom He wills, subhanahu wa ta'ala. And since this is really from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it'll be strange if they do not really use that to help others. And this is inshallah that we will begin with, about helping the others, the relatives, the poor, the travelers, the wayfarers. Until then, subhanakallah wa hamdik, ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta, astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.